All right, welcome back. This is the Built by Vitality podcast. I am Steve Pinkerton, and I'm sitting next to
Philip Lewis.
And on today's episode, we are going to talk about something that I'm actually surprised I'm going to say. We're going to talk about visualization.
Oh,
this has really come full circle for me, and I really want to talk about why I've kind of changed my tune on this, but also define what, in my mind, it's certainly not, what visualization might mean to some people, but to me, what it means and why I think you have to do this if you want to be successful in your pursuit to whatever goal you might have. Now, Phil, when I said we're going to talk about visualization on the podcast, what was your response to that? Like, how did you handle that?
I didn't think it was a good idea.
What's that?
I didn't think it was a good idea.
And
not because I don't think it's a good idea. I just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I get it.
But
So I told Phil, I said, let's talk about visualization of your goals and why that's so important. He said,
"You gotta see it to believe it."
That sounds pretty stupid. And I said, okay, cool. Thanks for the support. I hope you guys have sidekicks and people in your life that are as supportive as Phil is to me.
Okay.
So I'm going to make you a believer.
I wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about one time?
What's the top 5
No.
most amazing?
No, the podcast on, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, exactly.
And you wasn't with me on that one.
Yeah, I know. If Ripley's Believe It or Not is having a part 2, they'll have Philip as the host.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So, I started to get involved in this visualization stuff when I can think back to people that used to say, man, if you just imagine it, it will come true. And I thought that was the dumbest thing in the world. I still think that's the dumbest thing in the world. Okay? I do not think, nor am I saying that if you visualize something, it's going to happen. My belief on this is very simple in the fact that if you want something, you have to physically and emotionally, I guess, give up to that and give into that, because every decision that you're going to make is either going to take you further from where you want to be or closer to where you want to be. Do you believe that?
Yep.
Every decision.
Everyone.
And you might say, well, what do you mean? What I have for lunch makes no difference. But I think even at that micro scale, it does. And you can tie it back to it in some way. So what I'm telling you is, if you don't visually have something in your imagination and you're not thinking about it, obsessing over it, dreaming about it, when those decisions come up, you're going to solely base every decision on how you feel right then. Having a good day, cool, you make a good decision. Having a bad day, screw, I don't care, whatever. But what if you tied every decision to that dream of what you have in your head? Now it becomes a little easier to say, man, okay, I'm not going to leave work 2 hours early. I need to make that extra money because I want this thing that I've been thinking about nonstop. Or, man, I really want this stupid watch, but you know what? It's going to take me further away from my goal of creating enough wealth to go live the life that I want to live in my head that I've been dreaming about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about using that visualization, using that dream in your head to drive the decisions that you make on a daily basis. I remember when I was in the Marine Corps still, I drew out what I thought my first gym was going to be, because I wanted to open a gym at some point. And I remember me and my buddy Dave were sitting down, and I had drawn out this elaborate, it was like a Globo Gym style thing. And I wish I would have kept it, but that was when I first started thinking about, man, I kind of want to open a gym at some point. I didn't know what kind of gym, but I loved fitness. I loved working out. I loved teaching and coaching and that type of thing. And then most decisions that I made after that were all tied to that initial thought in my mind of what my day was going to look like. Man, did my day in my mind turn out to be anything like what it is now? No. But the idea was I wanted to be around fitness. I wanted to be around a specific community, a specific type of people, type of person. And that's what drove me to open the gym and do all these different things. And without that, I'm making decisions based on whatever, I'm making decisions based on what my mood is like for the day. And that's a very dangerous way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
How so?
Depending on how I'm feeling, sometimes I might make a good or bad decision.
Yeah.
If I had a bad day, I'm like, screw this, I don't care anymore. And then if I have a good day, I'm like, I might actually work towards something.
Yeah.
Not as much as I used to be. I've like you said, I visualize something that I want, and I don't let that affect me as much. When I was younger, way different. I let my mood answer that for me.
And I think people, they get too bent out of shape, and they let their emotions run all their decisions. And man, is it hard to make good decisions when you're emotional.
Yeah.
If you can make your decisions based on something a little more concrete, such as a goal that you have. And I find myself, man, I'll be honest, I find myself doing this a lot more the older I get, because I think the older you get, the more refined that picture in your mind of what you want gets. When I was 25 or 30, I had like a general idea, but I didn't really have the details of what I wanted, because I didn't really know. I didn't know, what was the gym going to be like? What was Vitality going to turn into? What was my life going to be 15 years, 20 years down the road? Now I look at it and I'm like, man, I know exactly what I want to do when I'm 50. I know it. I see it.
What is it?
It's so clear to me.
Oh, God.
I'm going to be out west somewhere. I don't care where.
Okay.
I'm going to live in a small, like a log style cabin with a big wraparound porch.
Okay.
All right. Gravel driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to see another house for as far as I can see. I'm going to step out of my porch and I'm going to see mountains. I'm going to see mountains.
Okay.
And there's going to be trails all on this land that I'm living on.
And this is how many more years?
I got 9 years until I'm 50.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, good luck.
I hope this works for you. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Cool. I appreciate it.
You want to know why?
I'd love to.
How old's Charlie?
She is in second grade.
But how old is she?
8.
So 10 more years.
She's 18.
She'll be 18, so you're going to kick her out at 18.
Well,
that's messed up. I don't like that visualization plan.
She's going to be in college.
I don't know. What if she says, I want to stay home with you and Mom?
She can come out west.
Oh, okay. That's right. She's like, Mom and Daddy's moving.
Yeah. and that's the thing. Like there's a part of me that just wants, that is what, when I think about that, it just makes me happy. Like I want to have my motorcycle out there, and I say my motorcycle. I want to have Marty's motorcycle out there.
Don't worry, I'm taking this too.
At some point, I'll have to buy my own motorcycle. And that's what I want to do. I want to wake up in the morning. And I want to go hike somewhere. I want to have a stream running through my land that I can hear that water. I can hear nature. And I know it sounds crazy. That sounds silly. And the 28-year-old Steve would legit whoop me right now just for saying crazy dumb things like this. But I don't care. That's what I want some quiet. I want some, I want that. That's what I want. And every decision that I make will lead me to that. I got 9 years. It's plenty of time.
There's plenty of time.
Plenty of time. But if you don't do that, I think about this, I think about my dad a lot. My dad's 70 years old. And I think, and he's still grinding it out. Now he wants to do that. He wants to keep working. And I say grind out. He's down in Key West living his best life for most of the time. But he does. He's involved in a lot of different things, way more involved than I think he should be. He's got way more stress than he should. And it's like, well, wait a second. I have this conversation with him a lot. What's the end game? I said, as hard as you've been working, I mean, he's been doing this for as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid. So call it 40 to 45 years he's been doing this, maybe 50 years. And at some point, when do you get to do exactly what it is that you want? When do you get to do exactly what it is that makes you 100% happy? Now, I might get out there and be like, gosh, I really miss X, Y, or Z. Yeah. Fine, I get it. But that's why
what if you're not a black belt by then?
I don't know.
What are you going to do then?
Build Steve a house and move him out there with me. I don't know. I don't know.
Fight the wind in your backyard.
But I just think that if you don't have these things, and you can go back at any point in your life and say, man, what if I just would have been a little more focused? Would I have gotten to my goal faster? I think about building this gym. That's all I thought about. That was all I dreamed about, was how I was going to get this building built and then have tenants inside of it. I dreamed about what tenants I was going to have. And I'm not talking about, again, I'm not saying that because I visualize it, it just came true. No. It just gave you a sense of purpose, because, I heard some really smart people talk about having a dream without a plan means nothing, but having a dream with a plan is a mission. Like, now I've got something to wake up each morning and work towards. We all know it. When you're training for something, we'll use us for example. When we're training for something, when there's something coming up, are we a little more focused?
Yes.
Are you a little more dialed in? Why does the nutrition challenge in January get people so strict? Because they have something to plan for. Why does the Open get people to start practicing double unders 2 weeks before? Because now there's something that's coming up. When you don't have that, then there's very little accountability with yourself. And I look at it almost more so than anything else is financially, because we make, as a whole, society makes so many poor decisions financially because we make them emotionally. Yeah. We see somebody have something and we want that something. And I remember when we were getting ready to buy this land, Jess and I talked about, we had been renting. When we first moved out here, the Marine Corps gave us a housing allowance, which is pretty cool, because you could, they base it off of where you're living, and then they give you that housing allowance for that area. So San Francisco would be a little different than like Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
But Charlotte was thriving at the time, so that paid for my mortgage plus some. So we just bought a house in a neighborhood that was going to appreciate. We thought it was like a really well-established neighborhood, and we knew we were going to turn around and sell the house in 3 years. Well, turns out I didn't stay in the Marine Corps, and that, so we lived there for a little bit, and then we started renting. And the whole idea was, at some point, I wanted to be closer to the gym. I wanted to build a house that was the way I wanted it. And if I wouldn't have put things in place along the way to make the decisions to wait as long as we did, then it wouldn't have happened. But all these things, if you don't have something that drives these decisions, man, I think you're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
So like, what's your talk to me about it. Like, what is the vision for you? What do we base Philip's decisions on?
Right now, it's probably my property.
Okay.
Things I do out there, getting a house remodeled, either tore down, built, something. So on the weekends, if I'm like, hey, I'd really like to go out and do this, or go out to eat at this place, or buy this, or buy some new clothes, or do something, I just don't, because I know that could be money that goes towards doing something out there.
So you want to rent it? You want to build build it, fix it, and then rent it? Or
I was thinking of just living there and then eventually renting it out and buying something somewhere else so that pays for it, or living in the one that's out there after it's remodeled and then a little bit later build something else on the property and rent it out while I'm living there.
And I think that's a perfect example of it too. Again, it comes back to most of our decisions require financial discipline. And if we don't have that vision of what we want, then what's driving those decisions? So for you, you want to live in that house. That means you're saving money on rent,
Food,
mortgage, whatever,
yeah.
right? And then you'll get to a point where you can then buy something else, and hopefully you can rent that place at your property for the same amount of money it costs for you to mortgage the house that you're living in or the place you're living in. And now all of a sudden you've got this ability to have leverage for each other, for both of those things. And if you don't have a plan for that, and this is what I come back to my dad. I don't know. I don't think that he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't plan for it, but I'm sure that he turned 70 a lot faster than he thought he was going to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he looked back and like, God, I was just 50 a minute ago.
Yeah.
You know. And I don't think he regrets anything. I really don't. I mean, he's that generation. Our parents' generation is a different cat than us.
Yeah.
They're built a little different. They're wired a little different. You know, that was the days when moms stayed home and cooked meals and took care of the kids, and dads worked.
Yeah.
All right. Those aren't the times. The funny thing was, Charlie's been sick for like 5 or 6 days, and I was home with her a couple days ago, and I'd FaceTime my dad. I said, "Hey, Pop, you remember the times when I was sick and you'd stay home and made me like chicken noodle soup and snuggled with me on the couch, read me books, and just helped me get better?" And he thought about it. He's like, "No, I don't remember that." I said, "Yeah, it never happened."
You didn't. You didn't.
It was just funny because now that it's just a different.
Yeah.
No better, no worse. It's just different. And I wonder if you could do it all over again. Would you say to yourself, man, at some point I want to make enough money that I can get by and live the life I want to live, but I'm going to live it on my terms. I'm not going to be handcuffed to a job or to stress or to a paycheck or whatever. And I get it. Some people don't have that ability. And I think that a lot of it comes down to they didn't plan. They made some bad decisions, and they decided that they would rather have things now than later. And I think that drives what happens for those people, So they kind of lose the ability to make those decisions. And the longer you wait to start to have something that drives those decisions, the harder it is to change it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And because some people are like, man, they would look at what you just said and they say, gosh, you want me to wait like 2 or 3 years so that I can maybe have some house that makes me $1,100, $1,200 a month? Like, no, I'd rather have a new truck now, right? But the reality is that they're not seeing the picture of, man, if I can have a house that's paying me $1,200 a month, and I'm paying off my mortgage. Now I'm getting equity in my house. Now I can maybe take a loan out against my house and a loan out against the rental property, and then I can go buy 2 or 3 houses.
Yeah.
And it was like that podcast we did on compounding. Everyone's looking at it like, man, what is it going to do for me right now? Oh, if I visualize maybe in 10 years I can go do something. Okay, I get it. It's the long game, and nobody likes playing the long game.
Yeah.
The same reason nobody wants to put the work in the gym, because they don't get to go home and see their six-pack overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. But guess what? The longer you do something, the better you're going to get at it, and the more results are going to come from it. So I think it's one of those things where if you don't put a plan in place, you'll be 50, 55, and you'll be like, okay, now I'm ready.
Yeah, now I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now you're 60 when you get it. and then you got to wait 3-4 years for it to build up some equity, and now you're 65. What are you going to do? Now, granted, you'll probably, be in great shape and you'll probably be healthy, but 65 is different than 50.
Yeah.
I don't care how, I don't care how healthy we are. 65 is different than 50.
It's just different, yeah.
And I'm not saying you got to retire at 50 years old. I'm just saying that at some point, if you don't put things in place to get closer to where you want to be, you're going to find yourself in this hamster wheel, and you're going to find yourself at 70 years old thinking like, gosh, man, last year I was 58.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden I'm 70.
What the heck? What happened?
And, so I just think that at some point it's going to start to make sense for people really to, they used to say this, one of the consulting clients in the CrossFit space used to always say, "What's your perfect day?" And I didn't love that, but I understand it. Like, I get it. But I don't think most people that open a gym or are an entrepreneur, they don't know what the perfect day is because they haven't been there long enough. They haven't done it long enough. My perfect day, 13 years ago would have been, man, I hope I get to train for 3.5 hours. I hope I can, talk to 15 new members, whatever it might be. My perfect day now is, not even, it wouldn't even involve working out really, not in the gym. So think about how much it's evolved over the time. So I think that at some point you have to make that decision and say, you know what, I'm ready to decide what my perfect day looks like. And, but I like it more of what do I want my life to be like? What do I want? Where do I want to be? I always found it funny. Like, people complain about where they live. They're like, oh man, I
hate this place.
I hate this place. There's too much traffic. It's too much this, too much that. Okay, move.
Just move. Yeah.
Well, I can't move.
I can't.
You can't move because
my family,
and I get it. You got little kids. I wouldn't uproot my kids out of high school.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. But if you wait till your kids are out of high school, this process, think about it. The process of moving somewhere and starting kind of a new life somewhere else, it's a 4 to 6 year process.
Yeah.
So the longer you wait to pull the trigger, the longer it's going to take. There's a lot of things you can be doing. The best thing is when you ask somebody, well, where do you want to live? I don't know. Okay, well, why don't you narrow it down to like 8 places?
The beach.
You travel a lot? Oh no, I don't like traveling. Okay, well, how are you going to choose? And what are you basing this decision off that you don't like where you live if you've never been anywhere else? And the beach. Jess is a big beach person.
Oh, I love the beach.
I hate it.
Why?
You know why?
No.
Because tell me where there's a beautiful, amazing beach without thousands of people crowding everywhere, long lines to every
There's
restaurant.
tons of them.
Where?
You just can't go to like Myrtle Beach or downtown Charleston. You gotta go
thank
to like,
you. Where
I'll just
else?
say, there's places on the Outer Banks and stuff that are just quiet. A lot of people, they're not big names. You just go there, get your little house. They're small. But everybody only knows the big name ones. If you ride up through certain parts of the coast,
So you'll take me to a small one?
I will if you want.
And it's pretty?
Yeah.
There's white sandy beaches?
Yeah. That's if you want to.
No sharks in the water?
There's sharks.
Well, son of a gun.
There's sharks. Yeah, but most people just associate it with like, I hate the beach, Myrtle Beach. Every time I go, there's 6,000 people. You can't eat for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're out there.
I've just always, and this is a tough one because Jess is she's tropical beach girl all day long. She's
sleep
ocean.
on the beach.
I'm mountains.
What do you do out there? Get
do you
poison
mean?
ivy?
No,
What, you
man.
get stung by a bee?
When you listen,
Snakes.
I don't have a ton of experience out west, but I will tell you that I can legitimately, I can smell. I know what that smell is going to be like when you walk out, and you listen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing.
Well, it sounds great, but are you going in the woods, or you just like to see the mountains, like the city or the landscape, or are you talking like you like to go in the woods?
I gotta be call it 10 miles from anywhere like
You're
any
on
city.
the edge of going into the woods where you get eaten by a cougar.
You're not getting eaten. Don't say that. My wife is literally like, what about the mountain lions?
See? Exactly.
When have we heard of anybody getting eaten by a mountain lion?
We're in Concord.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay, but I'm
But
saying.
if you're in the mountains all the time,
no. People don't get eaten by bears
I
and
think
mountain
they
lions.
do.
No.
yeah, because you don't hear from them again. They can't tell you what happened. They just go missing persons report.
You guys watch too many episodes of that alone. Where is it? What's
Naked
it?
and Afraid.
No. The other one where Life Below Zero or something,
That's
where
what
they're
I'm
in like
saying.
Antarctica or
Yeah.
something.
Just think about it. You're out hiking in the woods. You get ate by a bear. How do you know that happened? You just give your family's like, well, Philip went missing. No, the bear ate me, but the bear can't tell nobody. It doesn't travel. That news doesn't travel. It happens all the time.
I just, last night I took Reagan out, went for a ride through Davidson, took the bike out, went through Davidson, and you get to this little spot. It's like the North Carolina Scenic Byway, and it's the prettiest. I mean, there's just nothing but, there's no houses. It's in the middle of nowhere, and that's where I want to be, man. I want to be somewhere.
So you could do it in Davidson. There's no cougars out there.
No. That Davidson's not my. That ain't my. I put you.
Oh no.
No, I'm not gonna say it.
What?
No, nothing.
Okay.
There's this. I'm looking for a little bit different environment than Davidson, if you know what I'm saying.
I got you.
Great town,
What?
Davidson.
Oh, it's a great town. Yeah. A little busy.
A little busy, but
Don't ride your bike through there in the middle of lunchtime.
yeah.
Right in the middle of downtown.
So that's what I'm saying, and I think it's also, man, I think it can be fun sometimes to have a goal and make it be an aggressive goal. Maybe I don't make it all the way out west. Maybe I make it to
Mount Holly.
Maybe I make it to somewhere in North Carolina that is
Quiet.
But that's what I wanted. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me disciplined. That's what keeps me making the decisions that I make. And I think without that, we kind of lose our way. It's kind of like trying to navigate without a compass.
I could see you down in Lake Wiley. You ever been down that way?
Yeah, on the way to Whitewater Center.
No, that's dang it. What's that called? That's a different one. It's even
Okay.
further. It's like right on the line, South Carolina almost.
Yeah.
Lake Wiley. I think I could see you living on the lake out there because it's really quiet. You can buy a big plot of land. You can buy a bunch of acres. They sell them all the time, and you could have so much land with trees and whatever, and be right there on the water. Have a little dock, fish off of. You can get it in a cove somewhere. Get somewhere where it's quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good mix for the beach because you got some water. You could have a little made-up sand thing out there going to the lake. You're in the woods. It's quiet.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It doesn't fit into my visualization right now. But
10-4.
I don't see a mountain range in the back anywhere.
10-4.
Just
You don't need to.
Just a big expressway.
Oh, my gosh.
But
No cougars at the lake.
no cougars. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's definitely helped me, and if nothing else, it'll guide people into action, and that's our biggest enemy is inaction. Our biggest enemy is I'll get to it later. Well, later's coming, okay, and later will be here before you know it. And before you realize it, it'll be too late.
Yeah.
And there is a point where it is too late. That's where we're trying to avoid. Because the reality is, look, I'll end it on this. The most dangerous person in the world is someone that is self-sufficient. I'm not meaning I go catch my own food and kill my.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm talking about not relying on the government, not relying on a job, not relying on something else that keeps me car payments, house payments.
Yeah.
That's the trap of this whole thing is how many hooks can they get in you?
Yeah.
Because once there's enough hooks in you, you got nowhere to go but in that hamster wheel so you can pay. You got to pay everybody. You got to pay the car. You got to pay the house. You got to pay the student loans. You got to pay the taxes. You got to pay everybody. And there's just no money left. So if you don't start figuring out how to
not pay,
well, you know, how to get yourself out of these, take the hooks off.
No.
You know, stop buying a new car every 3 years. Stop doing stupid stuff. And it's all little things. It could be as little as, hey, I'm going to give up my stupid coffee that cost me $6,800 a year. Because they're looking at, it's only $8 a day. Yeah, you get 2 of them a day, 7 days a week, 365. Okay, do the math. But those little things, they you won't make those corrections if you don't have a vision of where you want to be. So again, maybe it's this is kind of a fruity topic that people are like, man, I can't believe Steve said that. I get it. I get it. Maybe that doesn't fit my personality, but I'm just telling you, I've been doing this for 13 years, and that's not a long time. I'm not burned out, but I'm telling you right now, I probably won't be sitting here when I'm 60.
You want to do a podcast when you're 60?
No, I probably won't be.
That don't make any sense.
No. Now you might be able to come out and live with me, but we'll probably not do a podcast.
Okay.
We sitting on those wooden Adirondack rocking chairs.
Yeah, but could you imagine a podcast while we're in those chairs and the mountains are in the back?
I get it. And you know what you're going to say then?
What?
Man, Steve, you were right.
I missed the beach.
No, you were right. This is amazing.
I was like, hey, man, can we do this inside? Because I want to get attacked.
It'll be after our 20-mile little hump that we do.
Nope.
Yeah.
On a four-wheeler.
Yeah. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. This is something that a little off the beaten path of what we usually talk about, but I do think this is beneficial. Until next time, this is the Built by Vitality podcast. I'm Steve Pinkerton.
Built Plus.
Catch you next time.